You ever just stop and think, what would happen to Earth if we weren't around anymore? Like, if humanity just vanished? It's kind of wild to think about, right? Well, today we're going to jump right into that very thought experiment. Okay, so here's the setup. Picture this. Tomorrow, every single person on the planet, poof, gone, instantly. What happens in that very next second? We're going to call this the Great Vanishing. And the rules are simple. There's no warning, no big explosion, no explanation. 1 second, there are almost 8 billion of us, and the next, complete silence, absolute emptiness. And that's exactly where our story kicks off, in that first quiet moment.
Now, you might think everything would just stop, but it's not that simple. With nobody at the wheel, literally, the entire world we've built, it starts to fall apart. This is the immediate aftermath, where all our complex machinery starts to realize we're gone. And believe me, this is when things get really interesting.
So to really wrap our heads around this, we're going to follow a timeline. We'll start with the first few chaotic hours and then zoom all the way out to thousands of years from now. Ready? Let's kick things off right at the beginning.
Okay, those first few hours, it's just pure chaos. But it's a weird automated kind of chaos, you know? Cars and trucks without drivers just keep going until they crash. Planes on autopilot, they'll fly until they literally run out of gas and fall out of the sky. And our power plants, they're smart enough to have fail-safes, so they start shutting themselves down. And after all that initial noise, a deep, profound silence starts to settle over our once loud cities.
And what's so wild is how it's all connected, like a chain reaction. It all really kicks off with the power grids. See, without people there to manage everything, to keep the coal and gas flowing to the thermal plants, these massive, continent-sized networks, they just start to collapse. The backup generators will run for a little while, but once their fuel is gone, that's it. The whole system just gives out. And that leads to one big, inevitable outcome.
A total planet-wide blackout. Imagine that famous image of Earth from space at night. All those twinkling lights. Gone. Wiped clean. The entire planet just goes dark.
Fast forward just a couple of weeks, and things are really starting to unravel. You know those pumps that keep subways from flooding? They've stopped. So yeah, places like the London Underground or the New York subway, they're becoming underground rivers. And zoos, the fences and enclosures start to break down, and suddenly you have lions and tigers wandering through city streets. And, it's pretty tough to think about. But our pets, our dogs and cats, they're now on their own in a world they were never meant to navigate.
But, while everything we built is crumbling, something else is happening. A whole other story is starting to unfold. It's not just about destruction. It's also about new life. Nature. Well, nature starts to take back what was always hers.
And it happens fast. Within just a few years, you'd see it everywhere. Plants forcing their way through cracks in the sidewalk. Massive vines just swallowing entire buildings. And animals? Wow. With us gone, they'd get brave. Deer, bears, all sorts of wildlife would start wandering right down Main Street, exploring these weird, empty canyons we called cities.
All right, let's hit the fast-forward button a bit. So while nature is having a total comeback party, our proudest achievements, well, they're not doing so hot. We're now entering the age of the Great Decay. It's like watching everything we ever built crumble in super slow motion.
Get this, after only 50 years, our modern cities would be basically unrecognizable ruins. Think about it. Without anyone painting or repairing things, the steel frames of skyscrapers just rust away and get weaker and weaker. Glass shatters. All those incredible buildings that seemed so permanent, turns out they were way more fragile than we thought. They needed us.
Let's jump ahead a few hundred years now. And at this point, our mark on the world is fading. Fast. Those giant interstate highways, they're gone. They're just green rivers of forest now. And animals like wolves are coming back in a big way, trotting through the collapsing skeletons of suburban homes. The oceans, too, are bouncing back. Without our fishing and pollution, they'd be teeming with life on a scale we can't even imagine today.
So, after thousands of years, after all the rust, all the decay, all the forests have grown back, what's left? Is there anything left to prove we were ever even here? What is humanity's final, lasting mark on this planet?
Well, the truth is, almost nothing. All our amazing technology, our plastics, our computers, our gleaming steel cities, it's all gone. Just dust, or buried so deep it might as well not exist. The only things that really last? The giant things we build out of plain old stone. Think the Great Wall, the pyramids. Isn't that ironic?
Our oldest, simplest creations are the only things tough enough to survive.
So what's the big takeaway from all this? In the end, the Earth heals. It moves on. And maybe the most humbling lesson from this whole thought experiment is this simple, powerful truth. Without us, Earth would be just fine.